Anybody who's part of our operations is essential. Our people in this building, our people in the field. Costa would not exist without our people.
We've got a phenomenal team. We've got a great group of people that make it work. And they've worked their tails off to make sure this company can grow like it has grown. We work hard to make sure that this is a great work experience for people
here. Costa Farms is a fourth-generation, family-owned business. Over the decades, their drive to compete and win has led them to become the largest ornamental plant grower in the United States and one of the largest in the world. Headquartered in Homestead, Costa also has farms in Central Florida, North and South Carolina, Virginia, and the Dominican Republic. Comprised of more than 600 environmentally controlled greenhouses, covering over 18 million square feet, 1,200 plus acres of shade houses, and nearly 1,000 acres of field production, Costa's passion for plants has blossomed into a portfolio of more than 1,500 different varieties of annuals, perennials, and ferns.
We grow hundreds of varieties all the time in our color and perennial sites, because there's a lot of breeding work that's happened with petunias and impatiens and things like that.
On the foliage side of our business and the blooming tropical side of our business, which is still the biggest part of our business, there we do a lot of the breeding where we take on the responsibility ourselves to find the new varieties.
We spend a lot of money and a lot of time, a lot of resources, and a lot of effort combing the world, okay? Looking for different genuses, looking for different plants. I mean, we've got a gentleman on our team that he's known on YouTube as a plant hunter, okay, because he travels the world. And some of the stories that I've heard him tell about where he's been and where he's gone to look for plants, you know, being an old combat veteran, I don't even want to go to some of these places he's gone to try to find a plant.
He's got relationships with folks in Asia, and Europe, and Africa, and he's generally visiting very small growers that might have 1 or 2 or 3 items that he thinks may work for us.
The first time I saw this genus was actually 3 little tiny plants, I don't know, like this big. I found it in Southeast Asia, but I knew the minute I saw it, I had never seen it before, and really all I had to do was touch it, feel it, and I knew that I really believed it to be something special.
And we're bringing in, importing, again, 1, 2, 3 plants of a particular variety. We'll bring those to our farms in the Dominican Republic where we create stock plants. And then we'll propagate the stock plants and then bring them to market. What it is a very long process. So it may take 6 or 7 years to introduce those plants into the market.
Everything that we do at Costa Farms, though, is with the end consumer in mind. We want to make sure that that product works well for the end consumer that takes that plant home as a part of their garden or their homescape, and so that's very important to us.
The nursery was started in 1961 by my wife's grandfather, Jose Costa Sr. He moved here from Cuba in 1960. He was a tomato farmer back then. He did tomatoes here for a short period of time, but decided he wanted to do something that was more stable. And so it was Miami and Homestead, the Homestead area, because that's where so many of the folks that were leaving Cuba settled. And that's why we're here. That's kind of how it all got started.
For the Costas, South Florida's long growing season and abundant sunshine was a perfect combination for their business. But the tropical climate brings its own unique set of challenges.
The obvious challenge is natural disasters, right? Weather events that we can't control, especially for a nursery. The wind damage can be pretty bad.
My wife joined the business in 1991. I joined the business a year later, in June of 1992. A couple months after I joined, August 24th of 1992, Hurricane Andrew rolled through this place. It was a devastating time.
Hurricane Andrew struck South Florida as a Category 5 storm, with sustained winds reaching 165 miles per hour. Passing directly over Homestead, Andrew caused catastrophic damage, stripping homes and businesses from their foundations, leaving as many as 1.4 million people without power. In the wake of the devastation, the family began to rebuild the nursery, emphasizing environmentally friendly and sustainable production methods. These practices would come to define Costa Farms' identity as a business, a neighbor, and environmental champion.
And we were kind of just rebuilding the place. Shortly after that, actually, my wife's brother, Jose Costa, he joined the business, and the three of us kind of ran the business for a long time.
As the nursery grew, so did the demand for its plants. Today, Costa loads and ships an average of 20,000 trucks annually from its farms.
We have our product shipping all over North America. We're a very large supplier of live goods for Lowe's, for Home Depot, for Walmart. We're a large supplier of live goods for Costco, Sam's Club, several supermarkets. But we still do ship with some of these retailers all the way out to the Pacific Northwest, and we absolutely ship into Canada too quite a bit. You know, I've been here again for over 30 years, so the right thing has evolved over time. The whole population, you know, is more aware of the impact that we have on the environment, and so we just take more responsibility to do the right thing.
With increasing production, managing waste became more of a challenge. Seeing an opportunity to enhance its positive environmental impact, Costa implemented a process to sterilize and reuse both trays and soils, extending their lifespan and significantly reducing waste. What they couldn't reuse, they committed to recycling. In 2021, Costa recycled over 2,200 tons of materials from their own operations as well as retail partners.
Costa Farms has been using coconut core as the main substrate for over 25 years now. It's basically the outer husk of the coconut. It's actually hydrophobic at first. It requires a certain level of moisture to allow it to start absorbing water. So that pore space allows for water to sit and is readily available for the plants to take up. But that pore space also has air, so there's more aeration. It's naturally pest resistant. pH is pretty much neutral, so not a whole lot of adjustment needs to be made in order to get it to the right pH for our plants to absorb all of those micronutrients.
To meet the individual nutrient needs of their extensive inventory, Costa creates different recipes of potting mixes by using core as the base and adding constituents. Using the Elipot system, Costa has been able to increase their efficiency by adding automation to the process of propagation, allowing for fewer people to do the work of replenishing the inventory of plants that have left the nursery. First, potting mix is wrapped in 100% degradable paper, cut precisely into individual plugs, and placed into trays to be planted with seedlings. When ready, the seedling plugs are transplanted automatically from their trays into larger containers suitable for their next stage of growth. The empty plug trays are then sterilized before being reused, completing and reinstating the cycle of propagation. With their proprietary Greenhouse Guardian application, Costa can remotely monitor and adjust various critical greenhouse systems to maintain ideal growing conditions.
It's a way that you can remotely, see your moisture, see the temperature. You can, run programs to where it will shift things around within the greenhouse automatically, or you can manually override it on your phone or your tablet or whatever it is you're on.
It's very important for us to continue with that innovation and to continue looking into all these new technologies in order to grow plants more efficient, and more sustainable.
We're using several different AI tools to help us out. The UNU is one of them. So that AI camera is able to detect slight deviations much faster than a human scout would be able to do. It allows us to identify a potential hotspot, whether it's a particular pest or fungus or bacteria in a given area. Not saying that our people can't make those determinations, it's just we're able to identify it much faster with the use of technology.
And that's what a lot of technology is. A lot of technology is debunking the way we've done business for 50, 60, 70 years. It doesn't mean we were wrong 60 or 70 years ago. It just means that we've gotten smarter as we've gone along.
with integrated pest management, or IPM. Costa uses nature to its advantage. Ultraviolet lighting, beneficial insects, and biological fungi are all being used to fight unwanted pests and pathogens. Under the blue glow of ultraviolet, or UVC lights, young plants can be treated against fungal and bacterial diseases, leaving the need for little or no chemical applications. In addition to the disinfecting lighting, the consistent use of living beneficials in place of chemical treatments lowers insecticide usage and helps to curb the natural resilience developed by pests over generations of repeated applications of conventional treatments.
IPM is a more holistic approach to controlling pests and problems that we have on the farm. So for example, at 92 degrees and above, mites can reproduce at about 3.5 days from egg to adult. So controlling them is a non-stop constant pressure. Using IPM, our beneficials and biologicals, we put in a preventative program that allows us to keep the plants protected whenever any incoming pests occur.
Scouting teams monitor the plants regularly, searching for invasive pests. For small problems, applications are done by hand. For larger problems, applications are completed with modified electric blowers, broadcasting an even spread of hungry beneficials across a large area quickly.
Our biggest challenge of being in IPM is getting the bios out in time, because they are living creatures that they generally all come in on one shipping day. So we can't store them for that long, or else they will start attacking themselves as they start getting really hungry. And some days we might have upwards of multiple millions of beneficials to put out. So it can be very time consuming.
With an eye toward producing healthier, locally acclimated beneficials and further lowering their need for conventional treatments, Costa plans to expand their IPM nursery program. Currently, they operate an insectary at their North Carolina farm, with plans for another in Miami, and facilities for lab-grown beneficial fungi in both the Dominican Republic and Miami.
The more that we move onto IPM programs, the overall better it will be for the company.
We want to be good neighbors, okay? And one of the ways we can be good neighbors is obviously by having some mindfulness about how we're impacting the environment and our neighbors around us.
Designed to help producers reduce water usage while improving the water quality that leaves their property, Costa implements a series of best management practices, or BMPs, at each of their farms. These voluntary practices showcase Costa's commitment to environmental stewardship.
When you read the BMPs, you know, the first thing anybody does is, oh, this is a regulatory, you know, If you just read it, it's just common sense, because again, it was by growers for growers.
We have a training system in place that we call the moisture management training, and that's critical because it's very easy to overwater products and waste water. So our goal here is to minimize the amount of runoff in all cases whenever possible, and so we'll use drip irrigation or point source irrigation in a lot of acreage around our farms. We also look at the fertilizer amount that we're putting into the pot, and we track the nutrient uptake of the crop so that we know what is the right amount of controlled release fertilizer, for example, to put into that pot to sustain the plant, but not have so much that nitrogen's coming out of the pot when you get an irrigation cycle.
Costa has done an excellent job of using controlled release fertilizer, which is a slow release over time. Looking at data over just the past 4 years, we've seen a 24% reduction in water usage, and we've seen about a 10 to 18% reduction in nitrogen and phosphorus use year over year. So really big gains. They've put in a lot of natural and artificial man-made filtration systems to clean the water before it leaves the property. Gutters coming off of building structures that are going to take it into drainage ditches, that they have gravel, which will slow the water flow, grassed waterways, which will filter the water as it moves to the ditches, and then wetlands are a beautiful filtration system that we have here in Florida, and at the base of their property, all water flows into there to filter everything before it leaves site.
Costa Farms' dedication to protecting natural resources, wildlife, and its community has fostered a family-like culture throughout the organization and made them a pillar of Florida agriculture.
I think it's phenomenal to work for Costa Farms. You know, I feel part of the family. I've been here for about 18 years. Everything that I've seen us do, it's the right way.
There's a great culture here. I couldn't be prouder of our team. We have just a great group of people here that support each other in a big way, hold each other accountable, but they're very competitive and they want to win. And it makes it a heck of a lot of fun to be here.